Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name's EDDBUD. Today I'm giving you my initial impressions and thoughts on the Hoka Oni Oni Carbon X. Right, without further ado, let's get to it. Oh yeah. So this is Hoka's second stab at creating a carbon plate shoe. Obviously they released the carbon rocket a little earlier this year, but I was very excited to get hold of this shoe and try it out after I saw up on YouTube the fantastic Project X event where lots and lots of runners took on various different world records and challenges. Jim Walmsley, for example, going for the 50-mile record. And I was quite frankly amazed at the incredible pace and running style of Jim Walmsley. It really inspired me, and I thought, well, can this shoe do something for me over some distances? Let me get a hold of it, let me try it out, and then I'll give you my honest opinions as usual. So first up, to the fit and feel of the Carbon X. So on first placing my foot into the shoe, I was pleasantly surprised of the comfort of the materials used. The mesh at the toe box area of the shoe, which stretches all the way across to the very back heel section of the shoe, is very light and thin. It's flexible, soft, and dare I say it, even silky. The tongue has a slightly more coarse feeling to it, which I think has been done deliberately to help it stay around the top of your foot so it doesn't move around too much. There are some plastic overlays on part of the tongue to help hold that tongue band in position. The tongue is joined by an elastic type material, which then doubles around your foot and goes underneath the insole material. Around the heel area there is a light bit of padding, but the main structural pointers come from these stitched on sections here around the back of the shoe. They do provide a little bit of structure, although not a massive amount. And as you can see here, these stitched areas also come around to the top section where you'd lace up the shoe. I imagine that's been placed there to give a little bit more lockdown and control. The eyelets around the upper here also have some plastic reinforcement to them to stop them tearing, I should imagine. There are two additional lace holes present at the very top section of the shoe, so you can customize the fit. The shoe certainly feels plush to me. I went for a UK 11, which is my typical size within a running shoe. It certainly feels true to size. There's a good amount of space in the toe box area. This is aimed at being a fast shoe, so I wasn't expecting lots and lots of space around the arch area. And it is relatively narrow there, but not so much that it's caused me any discomfort. The insole certainly feels kind of standard to me, although one thing to note, I did notice in the right shoe that the midsole was kind of standing up a little bit towards the toe box area. It just felt like it was a little bit too wide. The insoles in my version of the shoe do seem to be stuck down. After a while I kind of managed to sort of bed the insole in a bit better. It certainly didn't cause me any problems on my initial run. I did read a considerable number of posts up on several different Facebook forums suggesting that there have been problems with the sizing of this shoe. My worries about that were unfounded really. This is a great shoe in terms of it fits perfectly for me. UK 11, I say this one is true to size. So moving on to the midsole now. It's almost like Hoka have designed this shoe so your foot kind of sits into a cup style situation. The initial layer of midsole kind of runs all the way around your foot, kind of like a wall, maybe like a fence or a reservoir barrier. It's kind of an odd sensation to me to begin with, having never run in a Hoka shoe before. I don't know if this is a common thing within Hoka shoes, but it took a little bit of time for me to get used to it. I have to say, I did wear this shoe around the house for some considerable time to kind of get the feel of the shoe. So when I initially went out running with it, it didn't really feel completely alien to me. So the midsole is a formulation of EVA. It felt cushioned enough to me. It made me think a little bit of the Nike Zoom Fly, the original actually, in terms of how squishy the cushioning was within the midsole. I think probably the underfoot feel was a little bit similar to that as well. I'm going to have to go back and run in that one again to give a good comparison. I found it quite humorous that they decided to show off the carbon plate here in the base of the shoe. Hopefully this won't cause any damage over time. I can imagine if you get sort of rocks and things kind of stuck in there, it could damage the carbon plate, but certainly an interesting design showing off the plate like that. That's the sound of carbon. So the carbon plate's shown off through this kind of cutaway on the outsole. It kind of reminds me in terms of appearance of Han Solo's carbonite slab. I don't know why, it just always reminds me of that. Are you in there, Han Solo? Nah, it's alright, he's not there. This shoe certainly is stiff. You literally can't bend it, it's ridiculously stiff. I'd suggest even stiffer than the Vaporfly as well, and the Zoom Fly Flynet. This is a stiff shoe. It certainly feels propulsive when you push forward in the Hoka One Carbon X. It's not quite as prominent as you feel in the Vaporfly series or the Zoom Fly Flynet, but it is there, you can certainly feel it. So that midsole sandwiched with the carbon fibre plate, it's certainly propulsive, but nowhere near as cushy and spongy as the Zoom X in the Vaporfly. So the outsole, it's got some ridges here. There are several kind of sections and these kind of bobbly sections. I felt traction was really great. It's got that wider outsole here, there's more surface area. I really did enjoy running in the shoe. I felt that wherever I was kind of striking, I was always getting good ground contact, and it was certainly a pleasant ride. So the outsole and the midsole have a considerable curve. I've used this ruler to try and help kind of establish and highlight that. The curve starts pretty much parallel to the second set of eyelets on the shoe. So I think given the stiffness of this shoe and that curve, some people might find it a little bit strange and a little bit odd to begin with. But I think that odd sensation will start to dissipate over time when you get used to the shoe. I did note that there is some wear already at the very end of the shoe here. It's starting to shred up here, probably where I'm toeing off, but that's a little bit of a worry. Wouldn't expect that just after a few miles, 6 or 7 miles, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. Other than that, no real wear on the rest of the outsole, just a bit of discoloration. Certainly this shoe did want me to midfoot strike. I kind of strike around there anyway when I'm running, but it wanted me to get up onto that midfoot, onto the toes, and sort of push forward. So it certainly is a shoe that you can push the pace with. Just to quickly discuss the lacing, I certainly found this shoe had no real issues in terms of getting a good lockdown. There was a little bit of movement in the heel area, but I think with this shoe being aimed at doing lots and lots of miles, that you want a little bit of movement there. You don't want the shoe to be locked down too tightly, because over time, over those miles, your foot's going to expand and that's going to cause some discomfort for you. So having a little bit of space and looseness there is really required if you're going to be hitting a number of miles in this shoe. The shoe felt really good for me, coasting along about 4 minutes 45 seconds per kilometre. I came in at around 8-minute miles. That felt really good. I wasn't really pushing myself at all. I think my heart rate was around about 140, something like that. So staying within that sustainable level of effort. Stride length, I found data was similar to when running within the Vaporfly 4% or the next percent. In terms of steps per minute, I was around about 166, 168, which for that level of effort is about what I would expect. So I had an issue again towards the very end of the run with my knee. It's kind of perplexing me a little bit, although I do have a theory as to what's going on. So I had to ease back a little bit in the final kilometre, but it's no bother. It was nice getting the miles in this shoe. Certainly the shoe itself, my feet, the rest of my body felt great running in this shoe. Don't think the issue's to do with my knee. I think the issue might be to do with the running belt I was wearing. Now, I previously worn this running belt for the Blackmore Vale half marathon, and I got a similar problem in my knee during that race. In more cushioned, non-carbon plate shoes, I've had no issue running with that belt. So I think it could be a combination of the additional strain on the knees wearing the carbon plate shoes, plus the extra weight on one side of my body from the water bottle that's in the running belt. I could be wrong, but I think that could be the problem. So really good initial impressions of this shoe. I'm certainly still very excited about it. It was really nice running in it, very comfortable. So stay tuned for more thoughts and opinions on this shoe as I rack up the miles. As always, thanks for watching. Please make sure you like, comment and subscribe. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.